Hello, welcome to this new series, Hebrew Fonts and Scripts. I've been asked by some of you to describe some of the fonts and scripts that are in use today in Hebrew or have been in use in history. And over time, hopefully we'll be adding new videos in this series. If there are any particular scripts that interest you, that you would like to have described and discussed, please feel free to make suggestions. In this video, we will be handling the so-called Rashi script. Okay, if this if these videos interest you or you found them useful, I wish you would please consider subscribing. If you feel that this endeavor is valuable, I also hope that you will consider supporting this channel. You can find links to my Patreon and my PayPal accounts in the description below. Okay, Rashi script. So first, a little historical background in Rashi script. So, Rashi script serves as a form of italics in Hebrew. Its use typically is to offset different blocks of text. So the early publishers of Hebrew texts, the so-called Rabbinic Bible, which in Hebrew we call the Mikraot Gedolot, and the Talmud, they had a problem. They were printing large folio-size pages with a text in the middle, and they wanted to present on the same text blocks of commentary. So they had a problem because they needed to differentiate those blocks and still have them be readable. So if you make them too small, then it's not so readable. So they came up with creating a new font to differentiate it. It's used roughly in the form, roughly for the same reason that italics is used in English. Interestingly, italics initially was created as a way of signifying words of a Latin background. Italics comes from Italy. This font also developed in Italy in the 15th century. It also sometimes is simply called Ksav Italki, the Italian, Katav Italki, the Italian script. Okay. It is not really how Rashi wrote. Now, Rashi, of course, is the great medieval French Jewish Bible commentator, really a commentator on Talmud and Midrash, on all the major areas of Hebrew literature. Rashi commented on. But he's best known for his Bible commentary and his Talmud commentary. He wrote in his own Provençal script, which is no longer really in use today. The script came to be named after him because he really was the principal commentary that was first printed in the so-called Rashi script. So the font came to be identified with Rashi. It's not really a script because people don't really write in it. It was really initially a print for printers. But nevertheless, it's called script. Okay, it's mostly based on the Judeo-Spanish script known as Soletreo or Judaismo. Judeo-Spanish, of course, is also called Ladino Ladino. A few other names for it. But it's either Judeo-Spanish or Ladino. And that, of course, was developed on the Iberian Peninsula in pre-expulsion Spain and Portugal. Of course, the Jews were expelled from Spain in the year 1492. And the Sephardim, who had their own language, which is sort of a pidgin of Hebrew and Spanish, they carried that language with them and their script with them throughout the Mediterranean world. And that script is frequently called Soletreo. Okay, again, the so-called Rashi script was first used in the 15th century, primarily by the Hebrew presses of the Cincino family in Bamberg, printing the famous Cincino Talmud. And in Bamberg was the first printer of the famous rabbinic Bible, the Mikrot Gedolot. That's a Bible that has a text on the top of the page, and then presents numerous commentaries in different blocks of text on the either surrounding or at the bottom of the page. Okay, so let's get into the font itself. Okay, Aleph. See, it's a significant change there, Aleph. And I'm just more or less presenting the letters and side by side with a more familiar version so that you can just start to acquaint yourself. If you would like to have a PDF, this PDF, feel free to email me at learnhebrewbible@gmail.com or contact me on Facebook, and I can send you the PDF, and you can make notes on the page as I explain it. Okay, so the Aleph. So this, if it's not so clear, it can look like a ches. So it can look like a ches. If this part is knocked off, it can look like a chet. So you have to be very careful and see exactly, if that it's printed properly, or if there's printers errors, or if the print is not so clear. It's good. Some of the older printings, it's like that. It's good to pay attention as to see that that's there or not. Okay, Aleph. The bet, vet, it's more or less the same letter. It has a notch here, and it does not have the tail here, but beyond that, it's more or less the bet. Gimel is more or less the same letter. Dalet, very similar. Hey, very similar. Vav, essentially the same letter. Pay attention to this top should be extending this direction, because the Zayin is going to extend this direction. So you don't want to mix up your Vav and your Zayin. So the Vav leans, the head faces towards the left. Okay, and then here's the Zayin. Zayin faces to the right. Okay, and a good way to remember that, for those who use the modern Hebrew script, which of course is heavily influenced by the Yiddish script, Zayin, the top faces that way. It's just like the top faces that way on the modern Zayin in scripts. Okay, so let's keep going. Chet, more or less the same thing. You see what I mean? If this were to extend up, it could be confused for an Aleph. So, or if the printing is not so clear and you can't see that this extends, an Aleph could be confused for a Chet. So just take note of that and be careful when you're reading. Okay, a Tet. Tet is more or less the same letter. Yud, very similar. A Chaf, again, very similar. Chaf Sofit, virtually the same letter. Lamed, very similar. Pay attention, the Tzadi looks very much like Lamed, so it pays to note where this top is going. So the Lamed is going to extend straight up. Mem, more or less the same letter. Samech. So, excuse me, it's not Samech. I just made the mistake. It's the Mem Sofit, the Inder Mem, as we call it in Yiddish. And we see it's different. This is square, and this is rounded. So it is easy to confuse the Mem Sofit for a Samech. And here's some examples. Samech is written like this in the traditional block, and in the modern Ktav Yad, influenced by the Yiddish script, is just a circle. Mem Sofit in Rashi script is this. So one can see how one could easily get confused, because this is just a mashup of these two shapes. So if you were to look at it, you would be confused, much like I was confused. So this actually is a Mem Sofit. Okay, let's go. Here's another example. This, of course, is the name of Raham. And here it is in Rashi script, of Raham. And it is at the end. Not a lot of words have a samach at the end. So you don't, if you see that at the end, it's usually going to be a mem sofit. And of course, you won't see the mem sofit in the middle of the letter, in the middle of a word, because it only occurs at the end of words. It's the finial m, the mem. Okay, let's keep going. Nun could be confused with chaf, but it is just not as round and as full. Nun. Okay, the nun sofit, same story. This hangs beneath the line. Here's the line. This hangs beneath. Okay, here is the samech. Now the samech is just the mem sofit with a tail. So this is and of course here's how in print we would do the samech. Okay, so this is super confusing to newcomers because in Ktav Yad, modern Hebrew script, the mem sofit has a tail. In Rashi script, the samech has a tail. So this is further confuses between samech and mem sofit. As we saw earlier, there's confusion because the mem sofit is just a mashup of the ender mem and the samech shapes. Here is we're used to writing the mem with the tail, and this has a tail here, so it just furthers the confusion. So just get that straight in our heads. Okay, that if you see in Rashi script what looks like a samech, an ender mem, whatever, if it has a tail, it's not an ender mem, it's a samech. Also, usually this is going to be in the middle of a word, and this is not going to be terribly confusing because we don't have a mem sofit in the middle of the word. Okay, here is an example. Here's the Hebrew word sus. Sus, meaning horse. And here it is in Rashi script, sus. Tail, tail. So one could be confused and say this is sum, but we see here the sus has a tail. The samech has a tail here, so we know. Okay, it's confusing. It just takes time reading to make this clear for yourself. Okay, let's keep going. Ein and ein look very much similar. Pei, fei look very much similar. The ender, pei, the pei sofit. And of course here is the tzadi that I was referring to. Tzadi here. And the lamed has a head that goes straight up. And the tzadi has a head that hangs to the side, to the right. Okay, so if it's straight up, it is a lamed. If it hangs to the right, it is a tzadi. And here is an example of that. So in print, we don't have a problem. Tzadi, lamed, tzel. Tzel is the Hebrew word for shade. Tzel. Okay, the head goes straight up. Here, this is the word tzel in Rashi script. Tzadi, the head goes this way, and lamed, the head goes this way. So if one will burn this into your memory. This word tzel in Rashi script, it will assist you in remembering the difference. Okay. And of course, here's the Inder version of the letter, the Tzadi Sofit. This hangs beneath the line. The Kuf, so it also hangs beneath the line. Reish, not terribly different. Shin is very different from its original form. We have shin here in the block print. Sometimes this is either rounded, sometimes this will be pointed, but it's more or less the same letter. Here, instead of having 3 branches, it only has 2 branches, unless you want to count this as a branch. But whatever the case, no other letter looks like this in Rashi script, so it's not confused for any other letter. So, despite the fact that it doesn't look like it's the letter it represents in block script, it is not easily confused with other letters, so it's pretty easy to remember. Okay, and finally, Tav. Tav here, Tav here. It's, again, more or less the same letter. Okay, I hope you found this presentation on Rashi script to be useful. I wish you the best. Kol Tuv, Hatzlacha Rava. Keep learning.